He is hurt. Do we help him? Do we help him?
We decide together. Caution first.
A young Apache woman stands in the center of her tribe, surrounded by silent elders and watchful warriors. The air feels heavy, as if everyone already senses that something unusual is about to happen. According to tradition, this is the moment she must choose her husband, a decision that is expected to honor her people, strengthen alliances, and follow the customs passed down for generations. Strong Apache warriors stand nearby, confident that one of them will be chosen. But instead of stepping toward any of them, her eyes move past the familiar faces and settle on someone no one expected, a wounded cowboy standing at the edge of the gathering. He doesn't belong here. He is an outsider, someone their people have long considered an enemy. For a brief second, everything goes still. Then whispers spread like wildfire, turning into shocked murmurs. The elders exchange uneasy glances, their expressions hardening. Some warriors clench their fists, unable to believe what they are witnessing. Choosing him is not just unusual, it challenges everything the tribe believes in. It risks dishonor, conflict, and even danger. Yet the woman does not hesitate. Her choice is firm, her posture unshaken. In that moment, she is no longer just a daughter of the tribe. She becomes someone willing to defy tradition for something deeper. And as the silence grows heavier, one truth becomes clear. This single decision is about to change everything. The story takes place in the harsh yet beautiful lands of the American Southwest, where endless deserts stretch beneath. A blazing sun and rugged mountains guard the horizon. This is the home of a proud Apache tribe, people who have survived for generations by living in harmony with nature, honoring their ancestors, and protecting their way of life at all costs. Every tradition they follow carries deep meaning, especially when it comes to family, loyalty, and choosing a life partner. In this world, outsiders are not easily trusted. The arrival of settlers and cowboys has already brought tension, conflict, and loss. To the tribe, cowboys represent uncertainty, sometimes danger, sometimes destruction. They are seen as people who do not understand the land or respect its spirit. At the center of this story is a young Apache woman who stands apart from the rest. She is strong, but not just in the way warriors are. Her strength lies in her thinking. She questions, observes, and feels deeply. While others see enemies, she often sees people. This makes her different and sometimes misunderstood. Then there is the cowboy, a man far from his own world. He is not introduced as powerful or threatening, but as someone vulnerable, injured, and alone. His presence itself is unusual, almost symbolic of two worlds colliding. He carries his own past, his own struggles, and a life completely different from the tribe's. Together, they represent two opposing sides, two cultures that were never meant to mix. And yet, the moment they come into each other's lives, the foundation of everything around them begins to shift. The turning point begins quietly, far from the eyes of the tribe. One day, while moving through the wilderness, the Apache woman comes across something unexpected, a wounded cowboy lying on the ground, barely alive. His clothes are torn, his body weak, and it's clear he won't survive much longer without help. In that moment, she faces a difficult choice. Everything she has been taught tells her to leave him. He is an outsider, possibly even an enemy, but something inside her refuses to walk away. Instead, she decides to help him. Carefully and secretly, she brings him to a hidden place where she can tend to his wounds. Day after day, she cares for him, bringing water, food, and medicine. At first, there is only silence between them. They don't share the same language, and there is hesitation on both sides. He is confused and cautious while she remains watchful but determined. Slowly, small moments begin to break that barrier. A gesture, a shared glance, a simple act of kindness. These become their way of understanding each other. The cowboy begins to realize that she saved his life, and a quiet gratitude grows within him. Meanwhile, she starts to see beyond the idea of him as an enemy. She sees his humanity, his vulnerability. However, secrets don't stay hidden forever. Whispers begin to spread through the tribe. People notice her absence, her strange behavior. Suspicion grows, and tension starts building. What she thought was a private act of compassion is now turning into something much bigger, something that could change everything. As days pass, what began as a secret act of kindness slowly turns into a source of growing tension within the tribe. People begin to notice the Apache woman's unusual behavior, her frequent disappearances, her silence, the way she avoids questions. Whispers spread quickly and soon suspicion takes root. When the truth finally surfaces, it divides the tribe in a way no one expected. Some see her actions as a betrayal, To them, helping a cowboy, an outsider, an enemy, is unforgivable. They fear that his presence could bring danger, that others like him might follow, threatening their safety and way of life. Angry voices rise, questioning her loyalty and judgment. But not everyone reacts with anger. A few remain quiet, watching carefully. They don't fully understand her choice, but they sense there may be more to the story. Still, the tension continues to build. The cowboy, now recovering, feels the weight of every stare and every whispered word. He knows he doesn't belong. Every step he takes within the tribe feels uncertain, as if he is walking on fragile ground that could break at any moment. He struggles to adapt, learning their ways, respecting their customs, but the distance between him and the people remains. Despite all this, the bond between him and the Apache woman grows stronger. What started as compassion begins to turn into something deeper. They learn from each other in silence and in small shared moments. Trust replaces fear, and understanding begins to bridge the gap between their worlds. The elders, however, are not blind to what is happening. They call her forward, warning her of the consequences if she continues down this path. She is told to let him go, to return to her people fully, before it is too late. But she refuses. Her decision is calm yet unshakable, and in that refusal, the situation becomes far more serious. This is no longer just about helping a wounded man, it is about challenging tradition itself. And as the divide within the tribe deepens, it becomes clear that something bigger is coming. Something that will test not only her strength, but the fate of everyone involved. The moment of truth arrives when the tribe gathers for a formal ceremony, one that holds deep cultural meaning. It is a sacred tradition where choices are made not just for the individual, but for the future of the entire community. The Apache woman is called forward, and all eyes are on her. The elders sit with authority, the warriors stand with pride, and the air is filled with expectation. Everyone already assumes what her decision will be. She will choose one of the strong Apache men, someone who understands their ways, someone who will honor their traditions. It is the safe choice, the expected choice. But she doesn't follow expectation. Instead, after a long, heavy silence, she steps forward and points toward the cowboy. For a brief second, it feels as if time stops. Then the reaction comes. Shock, anger, disbelief. Voices rise, some in protest, others in confusion. No one saw this coming, yet deep down, some may have feared it. The elder's expressions turn stern. They warn her that this choice is not just personal, it carries consequences. By choosing him, she risks being separated from her people, losing her place and bringing uncertainty to the tribe. Traditions exist for a reason, they remind her, and breaking them is not without cost. The cowboy himself is caught off guard. He never expected to be chosen, never imagined being placed at the center of such a powerful moment. He looks at her, unsure if he fully understands what she is risking for him. But her decision does not waver. She stands tall, calm yet fearless, fully aware of what lies ahead. In that moment, she is no longer just following her heart. She is redefining her identity, choosing a path no one before her has dared to take. And as the tension thickens and the tribe struggles to accept what just happened, one thing becomes certain: her choice has set events into motion that cannot be undone. The aftermath of her decision is immediate and heavy. What once was her home now feels unfamiliar, almost distant. The warmth she grew up with is replaced by cold stares and quiet judgment. People who once spoke to her with respect now keep their distance, and conversations stop the moment she walks by. It is not an official punishment, but the message is clear. She has stepped outside the boundaries of what the tribe accepts. The cowboy feels it even more strongly. Every movement he makes is watched, every action silently questioned. Though he tries to show respect, following their customs, keeping his head low, avoiding conflict, it never feels like enough. To many, he is still the outsider who should not be there. The weight of guilt begins to grow inside him, as he realizes that her choice has cost her more than he ever expected. Together, they begin to live on the edge of the community, not fully cast out, but not truly accepted either. Life becomes harder. They must rely on each other for survival, learning how to blend their different ways of living. She teaches him how to understand the land, how to listen to nature, while he shares his own skills, ways of protecting, hunting, and adapting. Slowly, they begin to build something of their own, even in isolation. But emotionally, the struggle is deeper. Doubt creeps in during quiet moments. The cowboy wonders if leaving would make things easier for her, if his absence could restore her place in the tribe. He even considers it seriously, believing that sacrificing his own happiness might be the only way to fix what has been broken. Yet when he brings it up, she refuses without hesitation. Her choice was never forced, and she will not undo it now. She stands by him, just as strongly as she did in front of the entire tribe. For her, this is not a mistake. It is a path she chose with full awareness. Meanwhile, tension continues to build within the tribe itself. Some believe she should be fully cast out, while others begin to question whether the situation is as simple as right or wrong. The division grows, creating unease among the people. Then, as if everything hasn't already been tested enough, a new threat begins to emerge from beyond the tribe. Something dangerous, something real. And suddenly, the question is no longer just about her choice, but whether that choice might be the very thing that changes their fate. The tension that has been quietly building finally erupts when the danger everyone feared becomes real. One evening, as the sun begins to fade behind the mountains, signs of trouble appear, distant movement, uneasy animals, a strange silence in the air. Within moments, the tribe realizes they are under threat. Whether it's raiders, rival fighters, or armed men from outside, the attack comes fast and without mercy. Chaos spreads through the camp. Warriors rush to defend, but the surprise leaves them unprepared. Families scramble for safety, and fear grips even the strongest among them. In the middle of this confusion, the same people who once argued about tradition now face something far more urgent: survival. At first, no one looks toward the cowboy. To many, he is still the outsider, the one who never truly belonged. But as the situation worsens, something unexpected happens. He steps forward without hesitation. Drawing on his own experience, he begins to act with focus and precision. He positions himself where the defense is weakest, using skills the tribe is not familiar with. His movements are quick, controlled, and purposeful. The Apache woman fights beside him, trusting him completely. Together they move as one, covering each other, protecting those around them. In one crucial moment, when an elder or a young child is about to be struck, the cowboy risks his own life to save them. It's not a calculated decision, it's instinct, driven by something deeper than fear. That single act changes everything. The warriors who once doubted him witness his courage firsthand. The elders, who warned against his presence, now see him not as a threat, but as someone willing to stand and fight for the tribe as if it were his own. The battle slowly turns, not because of one person alone, but because unity begins to replace division. By the time the danger passes, the ground is quiet again, but nothing is the same. The tribe stands, shaken but safe, and in the silence that follows, a new understanding begins to form. The man they once rejected has proven something no words ever could. When the dust settles and the danger has passed, the tribe is left in a deep silence, one filled not with fear this time, but reflection. The attack has changed something inside everyone. What once seemed like a simple division between us and him no longer feels so clear. The elders gather, not in anger, but in thought. They speak quietly among themselves, revisiting everything that has happened, from the woman's bold choice to the cowboy's actions during the attack. For the first time, their judgment is not based on tradition alone, but on what they have witnessed with their own eyes. The man they once saw as an outsider stood and fought for them, protected their people, and risked his life without hesitation. Among the tribe, the shift is slow but undeniable. The same warriors who once watched him with suspicion now look at him with a different kind of respect. It is not immediate acceptance, but the beginning of it. Small gestures begin to replace cold distance, a nod, a shared task, a moment of acknowledgement. For the Apache woman, this change is deeply meaningful. She does not celebrate loudly or seek recognition. Instead, she quietly observes the walls around her beginning to fall. Her choice, once seen as a betrayal, is now being understood in a new light, not as weakness, but as courage. The cowboy too feels the difference. For the first time, he is not just tolerated, he is seen. He remains humble, not demanding acceptance, but earning it through his actions. He continues to learn to respect and to stand beside the people who once rejected him. Over time, the tribe begins to heal from its division. The presence of both the woman and the cowboy becomes a symbol, not of conflict, but of possibility. Traditions are not abandoned, but they begin to grow, making space for understanding and change. What once threatened to break the tribe apart ends up making it stronger. And in that quiet transformation, something new is born, a unity that no one thought possible. In the quiet days that follow, life begins to settle into a new rhythm. The Apache woman often finds herself standing at the edge of the land she has always called home, looking out at the same mountains and open sky, but everything feels different now. She thinks about the path she chose, how uncertain and painful it once seemed, and how close she came to losing everything. Yet despite the struggle, she feels no regret. She remembers the whispers, the distance, the weight of being judged by her own people. but she also remembers why she made that choice, not out of defiance alone, but out of belief. Belief that people are more than the labels placed on them. That understanding can exist even between worlds that seem completely opposed. That belief carried her through the hardest moments. Beside her, the cowboy has found something he never expected, a place where he belongs. It didn't come easily, and it didn't come quickly, but it came through patience, respect, and the courage to stand firm when it mattered most. He too reflects on how far they've come. From strangers divided by fear to partners united by trust. Together they represent more than just a couple. They are a reminder to the tribe that change, though difficult, can lead to strength rather than loss. Their story becomes something people speak of, not as a mistake, but as a turning point, and as the sun sets over the land, casting long shadows that slowly fade into the night, one truth remains clear. What began as a choice no one understood, became the story that changed them all forever. At its heart, the story carries deeper meanings that go beyond just love or conflict. One of the strongest themes is the struggle between tradition and individuality. The Apache woman represents the courage to follow one's own path, even when it goes against everything she has been taught. Her journey shows that traditions are important, but they are not unchangeable. They can grow when someone is brave enough to question them. Another powerful theme is love beyond boundaries. The relationship between the woman and the cowboy is not just romantic, it symbolizes connection between two completely different worlds. They come from opposite sides, with different beliefs, languages, and histories, yet they learn to understand each other. This shows that real connection is built on empathy and respect, not similarity. The story also highlights judgment and redemption. At first, the cowboy is judged purely based on who he is and where he comes from. The tribe sees him as a threat without truly knowing him, but through his actions, especially when he risks his life for them, he earns trust and changes their perception. This reflects how people can grow beyond labels when given a chance. There is also a strong message about unity through diversity. What once seemed like a dangerous difference between two people ultimately becomes a strength for the entire tribe. By accepting something new, the tribe becomes more resilient and open-minded. Finally, the story emphasizes courage and sacrifice. Both the woman and the cowboy risk everything, their safety, their identity, and their place in the world, for what they believe in. Their journey shows that real courage is not about fighting enemies, but about standing firm in your truth, even when you stand alone. In the end, these themes come together to deliver one lasting message. Sometimes, the choices that seem the most wrong to others are the ones that have the power to change everything for the better.